Start this with a prayer. Dear Father, I thank you for this day and this opportunity to be used as a vessel to let your people know that you are available, able, and ready in the name of Yeshua from Nazareth. Let's cut this bread. I told you we was going to talk again today because this is ugly. Ezekiel 20 through 26. And keep my Sabbath days, for they are a sign to remind you that I am the Lord your God. But their children too rebelled against me. They refused to keep my decrees and follow my regulations, even though obedience would have given them life. And they also violated my Sabbath days. So again, I threatened to pour out my fury on them in the wilderness. Nevertheless, I withdrew my judgment against them to protect the honor of my name before the nations that had seen my power in bringing them out of Egypt. But I took a solemn oath against them in the wilderness. I swear I would scatter them among all the nations. Because they did not obey my regulations, they scorned my decrees by violating my Sabbath days and longing for the idols of their ancestors. I gave them over to worthless decrees and regulations that would not lead to life. I let them pollute themselves with the very gifts I had given them, and allowed them to give their firstborn children as offerings to their gods, so I might devastate them and remind them that I alone am God. You know what? Dude, this disobedience is out of control. And when I'm reading this, like, I put myself in their spot. How many times has he told me to get it together? How many times has he said, Tanya, obey my commands, follow my rules, hold down my regulations, keep my statutes, live like this? I can't even imagine. I cannot imagine. So you got the Israelites that came from Egypt, and they're in the wilderness. 11-day journey turned into a 40-year journey. So they're in this wilderness, and then they have children. You would have thought that they'd seen God. Pillar of fire at night, a pillar like of clouds during the day to cover them, to keep them cool. First it was manna coming out of heaven, then that wasn't enough, so God just started pouring all types of meat coming down. Still wasn't good enough. Their clothes didn't wear out, their shoes didn't wear out. Even in the nothingness of the wilderness, you would think that somebody would see it. Now, there's this place, I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it's called UCC, United Community Center, and it helps Hispanics and whatever. When my mom was about like 17, 18, there was this photographer, and he took a picture of her and my aunt, and they're sitting on a bed, and there's a picture of the Last Supper behind them, like in the background. It's like right here. And when I was looking at it, I was like, God, you're so cold, because you told my grandma how to be with her children, and she wasn't like that. So then her children seen what she was like, and they didn't change. And then it came to me, and I struggled in the beginning, like, to be a good mom. But at 15, 18, 20, 24, nobody's really a good mom, like, unless you have, like, good parents. But if you had good parents, you wouldn't be pregnant at 15. So I got it. Like, I kept this covenant, and like, it's gonna follow 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th generations. But who is gonna listen to the fact that their forefathers kept doing things to violate the Most High and change it? Dude, listen, there's generational curses on my family when it comes to women and men. Women wanting to be super strong and like overpower the man. Like, it's wild. Women just being horrible to their kids. Like, this is the thing, right? And this is why this is so crazy to me, because listening to him, I'm like, oh my gosh, I would have. But him being like, look, I made a promise, and because of who I am, I'm not gonna come and give you what you deserve. But what I am gonna do is let you go and do what you gotta do. Nevertheless, he said in 22, I withdrew my judgment against them to protect the honor of my name before the nations that had seen my power in bringing them out of Egypt. So ain't nobody believing God because you got like all these other gods. And the God of the Hebrews came through. He heard his people's cries. He got them out of bondage. He had promised to take them to the promised land, but they couldn't leave their filthiness alone. And this is what we don't get. Like, if my mom could have left her filthiness alone, man, it would have stopped some things with me. If I could have left my filthiness alone sooner in my life, it could have stopped some things for my daughter. But now it's done because I don't need to be in a relationship just to be in a relationship. If we are not equally yoked, there is nothing that you can do for me. I'm tired of trying to have it my way. He said, but I took a solemn oath against them in the wilderness, and I swore I would scatter them among the nations. Even in Deuteronomy, he's telling you, like, part of the curses is going to be this. He had Moses telling you in the desert, I'm going to do this. And they were scattered. I'm going to remove you so far that it's, listen, you going to live under whatever you're living under, and whatever you follow, that's how you going to be rang up. I gave them over to worthless decrees and regulations that would not lead them to life. Because us in our minds, me in my mind, I had a way that I was going to live, and it was going to be pleasing and acceptable to me. I was going to be numb to this world or anything, just completely numb, because if I'm numb, I can't feel God. I can't feel you. I ain't got compassion. I got a heart of stone. I'm walking around like, yeah, I'm ready to wreck you. And I did that for a long time. And don't get me wrong, because sometimes, like, when people play with my feelings now, I have to, like, use emotional intelligence to decipher what is really happening. But the Most High is like, you want to keep doing what you want to do? I'm going to let you go. Because a consequence of being disobedient is sin and more sin, and you being stuck in your sin, and then you're so far gone in your sin that you need the Most High to come in. That's the only way to break you. Then I gotta break you. I let them pollute themselves. Look, I was already filthy with the anger that I had as an idol, the narcissistic ways that I kept as an idol. Like, I love the fact that when people saw me, they were like, ooh, that's Tanya. She don't play no games, and she treats her man. That's right, I do, and he's still gonna be here. And this is the mindset. Like, dirt attracts more dirt. Filth attracts more filth. And then it gets caked on, and then it's harder to clean off, and the only one that can really clean it off is the Most High. I let them pollute themselves with the very gifts. In some situations, because this is coming from the New Living Translation, or I gave them worthless decrees and regulations, I polluted them. You would think that would make him sound crazy, right? But he didn't sound crazy in this whole chapter, pleading with people to change. You can't beat nobody over the head and make them change if they don't want to change. No matter what he did, he wasn't going to beat me over the head until I changed. I had to have enough of this dirt on me, enough of this heaviness on me to be like, look, I'm rotten. I really am. And I was rotten. I was polluted. Man, listen. And, you know, every now and again, you'll hear somebody say, well, you're the daughter of the Most High. You ain't supposed to be like this. Now I'm supposed to be like this. The way that I am right now, I'm not tolerating any garbage. I got to follow his ways, and I got to be clean. I'm not letting anybody dirty around me, and nor am I going to let the dirt go unchecked. It irritated me having to read this. Like, again, God, and him being like, yo, you know how many times I told them? Stop. Like, it's so bad. He said, I allowed them to give their firstborn children as offerings. Here you go. Making it worse for the next generation. Like, have we not learned from our predecessors that their way has not worked and something needs to change? Children as offering to their God, so I might devastate them and remind them that I alone am God. I mean, I don't know if you've ever gotten so far into some mess that you're literally crying out to God because it's too much. He loves you, and he loves me. He loves all of us, right? But if we don't stop doing things that are going against his will and what he commands, because what he gave us is ultimately going to give us life. Follow my rules, follow my regulations, live by my standards, and live. But we set up these idols and we become filthy, and then we don't stop it from happening to the next generation. How about we start healing we show our kids healthy relationships versus them having to heal from relationships later. God's like, cut everything out that's not like me so it doesn't stop your progress. It doesn't interfere with the next generation, and they know to trust me. They know to come to me. They know that I am their God. All these other nations know, and for my name's sake, I didn't hit you the way that I needed to hit you. But because I loved you, I gave you mercy. Man, unmerited favor. Unmerited favor. He delivered me from some things. So why would I not tell people? Listen, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Holla at God.